Welcome to US Coins World. What if I told you that some of the rarest and most valuable US coins might be hiding right under your nose? Today, we're uncovering incredible treasures, coins so rare, they could make you a fortune overnight. Ready to discover hidden history and cash in on some amazing finds? Let's dive in. Top 1 today, we're taking a fascinating journey into the world of American state quarters, and we've got an especially captivating one to talk about, the Nebraska State Quarter from the year 2004. This is not just any quarter you might find jingling in your pocket. This is a coin that carries a story, a slice of history, and, in certain rare cases, a value so high it could change the way you look at small change forever. Let's start with the background. The Nebraska Quarter is part of the United States Mint's legendary 50 State Quarters program, which ran from 1999 to 2008. Each state in the Union got its own unique design on the reverse of the quarter, celebrating something that defines its heritage, its history, or its culture. For Nebraska, that design captures both the spirit of the American frontier and the state's rich past. The coin's reverse side features a beautifully detailed image of Chimney Rock, one of Nebraska's most famous natural landmarks. Rising high from the plains, Chimney Rock was a vital landmark for pioneers traveling the Oregon Trail in the mid-19th century. To the left of Chimney Rock, you can see a covered wagon pulled by oxen, a reminder of the grueling but hopeful journeys taken by settlers seeking a better life. The design is more than art, it's a nod to the courage and determination that built the American West. The front side of the coin, as with all quarters from this series, carries the profile of George Washington, sculpted by John Flanagan and updated for the program. Now, you might be wondering, with millions of Nebraska quarters minted, how could one possibly be rare? That's where things get interesting. While the majority of Nebraska quarters are only worth their face value, there are certain examples that stand out because of their exceptional condition, unique minting errors, or limited variations. These are the coins that collectors dream about. One of the key factors in rarity is condition. Coins that have never been in circulation, known as mint state or uncirculated coins, can hold much higher value. When a coin is graded at the top of the scale, with no scratches, dings, or signs of wear, collectors are willing to pay a premium. Even a common coin becomes desirable when it's preserved perfectly. But condition is just the starting point. What truly sets the rare Nebraska quarters apart are minting errors. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process at the United States Mint, creating coins that are unique and often one of a kind. Some of the most sought-after Nebraska quarter errors include double dies, where parts of the design are struck twice and appear slightly offset, off-center strikes, where the design isn't properly aligned, and die cracks, where raised lines appear on the coin due to a damaged die. There are also instances of coins being struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank intended for another denomination was used, and these are especially rare. Collectors are drawn to error coins because they break the mold, literally. Each error tells its own story of how something slipped past the mint's strict quality controls. For Nebraska quarters, some of these errors have become legendary among numismatists, fetching prices at auctions that would shock the average person. Another factor influencing value is the coin's provenance, its history of ownership and how it has been preserved. A Nebraska quarter that has been carefully stored in a protective holder since the day it left the mint, untouched by human hands, will naturally be far more desirable than one that's been rattling around in change jars for years. But let's not forget about the human side of coin collecting. For many collectors, owning a rare Nebraska quarter isn't just about the potential financial reward. It's about holding a tangible piece of American history. When you hold this coin, you hold a symbol of Nebraska's rugged beauty, the resilience of pioneers, and the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint. It's art, history, and treasure all in one. Now, imagine stumbling upon one of these rare Nebraska quarters, maybe in your pocket change, maybe in a roll of quarters from the bank, or maybe hidden in a collection passed down through your family. At first glance, it might look like just another coin, but a closer look could reveal details that make it something extraordinary. Perhaps it's flawless and gleaming, with razor-sharp details. Perhaps it has an unusual doubling in the design or a striking error that sets it apart from the millions of others. Collectors spend years, sometimes decades, hunting for coins like this, knowing that the right find could be worth far more than its face value. And speaking of value, this is the part you've been waiting for. After exploring the history, the design, the rarity, and the errors that make the Nebraska State Quarter so fascinating, it's time to talk about what the most extraordinary examples can bring on the open market. That in the rarest cases, with perfect preservation and a highly desirable mint error, a Nebraska quarter from 2004 has been known to sell for as much as $87,000. Top 2. We're diving deep into a quarter that represents one of the most distant and fascinating parts of the United States, the 2009 Guam quarter. This is more than just loose change, it's a small piece of America's faraway Pacific territory, a coin with beauty, history, and in extremely rare cases, an almost unbelievable value. Let's set the stage. In 2009, the United States Mint launched the District of Columbia and U.S. Territories Quarters program, a follow-up to the wildly successful 50-state quarter series. Instead of celebrating states, this new program honored Washington, D.C. and the nation's territories, places that are part of America but often overlooked in everyday conversation. Guam was one of these territories, and its quarter instantly stood out for its unique design and cultural significance. The reverse side of the coin is a miniature work of art. It features an outline map of Guam in the center, making it easy to see just how small and isolated this island is in the vast Pacific Ocean. To the left of the map stands a flying prow, a traditional Chamorro sailing vessel, symbolizing the skill and seafaring heritage of the island's indigenous people. Below, you can spot a latte stone, a distinctive stone pillar used by the ancient Chamorro for building structures, now a lasting symbol of the island's history. These three elements together tell a story of resilience, navigation, and cultural pride. On the front, as always, is George Washington's profile, a reminder that no matter how far away Guam is, it is part of the United States. Now, you might be thinking, if millions of these coins were minted, how could any of them be worth more than their face value? That's where rarity comes into play, and trust me, this is where the Guam quarter gets truly fascinating. While most Guam quarters you'll find in change are worth just 25 cents, a handful are so rare and desirable that collectors will pay enormous sums to own them. The first factor is condition. Coins that have never been in circulation, called mint state coins, are far more valuable. These are quarters that still have their original shine, sharp details, and absolutely no scratches or marks from handling. If a Guam quarter has been graded by a professional grading service at the very top of the scale, it immediately becomes a collector's prize, but condition alone isn't enough to reach legendary value. The real game changers are minting errors. Mint errors happen when something goes wrong in the coin-making process, and in the world of numismatics, these mistakes are pure gold. With the Guam quarter, there have been reports of striking errors, such as off-center strikes where part of the design is missing, double die errors where parts of the lettering or design appear doubled, and even coins struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning the quarter design was accidentally stamped onto a blank meant for a different denomination. These kinds of errors turn an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind treasure. Some Guam quarters also display die cracks, thin raised lines caused by a cracked die, which can be highly collectible, especially when they're prominent and add to the coin's visual uniqueness. Another error to watch for is a missing clad layer, which exposes the copper core beneath the coin's surface and gives it a distinct and striking appearance. These unusual flaws, combined with perfect or near-perfect condition, create the kind of rarity that sends collectors into a frenzy. Think about it, Guam is one of the least populated and most remote places represented on a U.S. coin. The quarter celebrating it was minted for only a limited time in 2009, and error coins from that small mintage are naturally even scarcer. Combine that scarcity with the demand from collectors who specialize in territory quarters, mint errors, or perfect condition coins, and you have a recipe for serious value. Imagine holding one of these rare Guam quarters in your hand. It's light, shiny, and familiar, yet you know it's hiding a secret, a small imperfection from the mint that transforms it into something priceless. For a true coin enthusiast, that moment is electric. You're holding not just a piece of metal, but a piece of history, a product of human craftsmanship and error, a symbol of a far-off island and its people, and, potentially, a ticket to a small fortune. The thrill of the hunt is what drives collectors. They check their change, search bank rolls, attend coin shows, and comb through old collections, always hoping that the next coin they find will be the one. And with the Guam quarter, that hope is far from unrealistic. Rare, pristine, and error-filled examples are out there, and they're worth tracking down. Now, after walking through the history, the design, the rarity, and the magic of mint errors, it's time for the moment you've been waiting for, the answer to the question every collector eventually asks: just how much can one of these coins be worth, in the most extraordinary cases? When a Guam quarter from 2009 is found in flawless mint state with a spectacular and desirable minting error, it has been known to sell for as much as $85,000. Top 3. We're heading to the American South to explore a coin that celebrates a place famous for its music, its culture, and its history, the Louisiana State Quarter from the year 2002. Now, for those who may not know, the Louisiana Quarter is part of the legendary 50 State Quarters program, a series launched by the United States Mint in 1999 that ran until 2008. Each state got a design that symbolized something unique and defining about its history or heritage. For Louisiana, the imagery is as rich and colorful as the state itself. The reverse side of the Louisiana Quarter is a celebration of the past and present. Right at the center is a pelican, the state bird of Louisiana, proudly standing as a symbol of resilience. Behind it, you'll see an outline of the state with a star marking the location of the capital, Baton Rouge. But perhaps the most historically significant element is the depiction of the trumpet and musical notes, representing the birthplace of jazz, one of America's greatest cultural gifts to the world. And if you look closely, there's also a reminder of the Louisiana Purchase, the massive land acquisition of 1803 that doubled the size of the United States. It's a coin that packs an incredible amount of history into just one side. On the obverse, as with all state quarters, we have the familiar profile of George Washington, originally designed by John Flanagan and updated for the series. While the front may be classic, the back is where Louisiana truly comes to life. But let's talk about what turns an ordinary Louisiana quarter into a collector's dream. Millions of these coins were minted for circulation in 2002, and the vast majority are only worth their face value. However, in certain rare cases, some Louisiana quarters stand out for one simple reason: they are extremely well preserved or they contain unique minting errors that make them one of a kind. Condition is the first and most obvious factor in determining value. A Louisiana quarter in mint state, meaning it has never been in circulation, will have sharp details, brilliant luster, and no scratches, dents, or signs of wear. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can already fetch impressive prices, but that's just the beginning. The real magic happens when you add mint errors into the mix. Mint errors are the result of accidents or mechanical mishaps during the coin production process, and they're the kind of quirks that collectors can't resist. With Louisiana quarters, there have been several types of notable errors reported. One is the double die, where parts of the design, such as the lettering or musical notes, appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment during striking. Another is the off-center strike, where the entire design is shifted away from its proper position, leaving part of the coin blank. Some Louisiana quarters have also been discovered with die cracks, raised lines on the surface caused by a cracked die, or cuds, where a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a distinctive raised blob of metal on the coin. Even rarer are examples struck on the wrong planchet, the metal blank intended for another coin, such as a dime or foreign coin, which results in a quarter with unusual weight, color, or size. These types of minting mistakes are incredibly scarce and instantly increase a coin's desirability and value. It's worth noting that the Louisiana quarter was minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, and certain error varieties are more likely to be found from one mint than the other. Collectors pay close attention to the small p or d mint mark on the obverse for this reason. Why do collectors go crazy for coins like this? Because a mint error is like a fingerprint, no two are exactly the same. And when that error happens on a coin that already has cultural and historical significance, it becomes a conversation piece, a rarity, and a valuable collectible all at once. Think about the thrill of discovering one in the wild. Maybe you get it as change at a gas station, or you find it in an old jar of coins. At first glance, it's just a regular quarter, but then you notice the strange doubling in the design, or the unusual shift in the strike, and you realize you might be holding something worth far, far more than 25 cents. That's the kind of moment every coin hunter dreams about. The Louisiana quarter's rich imagery makes any error on it even more noticeable and intriguing. A doubled musical note, an incomplete pelican, or a shifted outline of the state instantly jumps out to anyone who knows what to look for. Combine that with perfect preservation, and you have a coin that belongs in a top-tier collection. Now we come to the part you've been waiting for, the value. We've talked about the design, the history, the condition, and the errors that make this coin special. But what happens when you find the perfect storm, a Louisiana quarter from 2002 that's in flawless mint state and has a rare, dramatic minting error? That's when this humble piece of pocket change crosses over into the realm of the extraordinary. And the most remarkable of these cases, such a coin has been known to sell for as much as $83,000. Top 4. We're stepping into the great outdoors, not physically, but through a beautifully designed quarter that honors one of America's natural treasures, the Kisatchie National Forest quarter from the year 2015. At first glance, this coin might seem like just another piece of pocket change, but for coin collectors and history lovers, it's a miniature masterpiece. The Kisatchie quarter is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which ran from 2010 to 2021. Each coin in this series celebrates a national park or landmark from a different state or U.S. territory, and in this case, the spotlight is on Louisiana's only national forest. Let's start with the design. The reverse side of the Kisatchie quarter is breathtaking in its level of detail. It features a wild turkey in mid-flight, wings spread wide as it soars above the longleaf pine trees that dominate the forest's landscape. Below, the name, Kisatchie, proudly declares the coin's subject, and the words, Louisiana, and 2015 anchor it in time and place. This scene isn't just beautiful, it's symbolic. The wild turkey represents the thriving wildlife of the forest, while the longleaf pines recall the natural ecosystem that conservation efforts have worked hard to restore. On the obverse, as with all quarters in this program, we see the classic portrait of George Washington. While familiar, it serves as a reminder that these coins are not just works of art, but legal tender used every day by millions of Americans. But here's where the story gets interesting. Most Kisatchie quarters, even in decent condition, are worth only 25 cents. So how does one of them leap from pocket change to a collector's prize worth a staggering sum? The answer lies in rarity, condition, and, most intriguingly, minting errors. First, condition is key. A quarter that's never been in circulation, known as a mint state coin, will have its original shine, perfect edges, and every detail sharp and crisp. These coins are already more desirable to collectors, especially if graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, but even a perfect coin might not reach the top tier of value without something extra. That something is a minting error, a mistake that occurred during the coin's creation at the U.S. Mint. Minting errors can take many forms. Some Kisatchie quarters have been found with doubled dies, where parts of the design, such as the feathers of the turkey or the lettering, appear doubled. Others have off-center strikes, where the design is shifted so far that part of it is missing, creating a dramatic and eye-catching look. There are also examples struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the coin was accidentally minted on a metal blank meant for another denomination, such as a nickel. These are extremely rare and instantly draw the attention of serious collectors. Die cracks are another possibility, where raised lines or unusual shapes appear on the coin due to a damaged die. And in some rare instances, the outer clad layer of the quarter is missing, revealing the copper core underneath, a striking visual difference that makes the coin unique. Why are these errors so valuable? Because they are unintentional, unpredictable, and impossible to replicate. Each error coin is a one-of-a-kind product of chance, making it more like a piece of art than just currency. And when the error happens on a coin from a popular series like the America the Beautiful Quarters, demand skyrockets. The Kisatchie quarter also benefits from a smaller mintage compared to quarters from more populous states, meaning there are fewer to begin with, and even fewer that are flawless or have dramatic minting errors. Add to that the appeal of the design, which resonates with collectors who love nature and wildlife themes, and you have the perfect recipe for a coin that can achieve extraordinary value. Imagine finding one of these in your change. Maybe it's tucked inside a roll of quarters from the bank, or it's been sitting in a jar for years, unnoticed. You pick it up, start looking closely, and notice something odd: the turkey's feathers seem doubled, or the design is strangely off-center. That moment of realization is what collectors live for. It's the thrill of knowing you've stumbled upon something truly rare. Collectors aren't just buying these coins for their beauty or historical significance, they're buying a story. A story about how a coin meant for everyday transactions escaped the mint with a unique flaw, survived years without being damaged, and ended up in the hands of someone who recognized its true worth. And that brings us to the part you've been waiting for. After diving into the history, the design, the rarity, and the fascinating world of minting errors, we have to ask the question: just how valuable can the rarest Kissachi quarter be? In the most exceptional cases, where a Kissachi quarter from 2015 is in flawless mint state and carries a dramatic, highly sought-after minting error, it has been known to sell for as much as $80,000. Top 5. We're going to explore a quarter that might just turn a casual coin search into a life-changing discovery. This is the 2010 Hot Springs National Park Quarter, a coin that not only celebrates a piece of American history but, in the rarest cases, carries an incredible value that will make you think twice about the change in your pocket. The Hot Springs Quarter is part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, which began in 2010 and continued until 2021. This series was designed to showcase national parks and historic sites from all across the United States, with each coin capturing a unique scene tied to the state it represents. For Arkansas, the choice was Hot Springs National Park, a site famous for its natural thermal springs, historic bathhouses, and centuries-old appeal to those seeking relaxation and healing. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the reverse side of the Hot Springs Quarter, you'll see the facade of the Hot Springs National Park headquarters building. Right at the center of the design is the historic fountain, water cascading down in a steady flow, a tribute to the warm mineral waters that have drawn visitors to the area for hundreds of years. The fine details in the brickwork and the surrounding structure make this one of the most elegant designs in the America the Beautiful series. Above the scene, the words Hot Springs and Arkansas frame the image, while the date, 2010, marks the year of its release. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington, which appears on all quarters, but in this series, the image was slightly refined for sharper details and a more modern look. Now, here's where things start to get interesting for collectors. While millions of Hot Springs quarters were minted, only a very small fraction hold significant value. The vast majority are worth their face value of 25 cents, even in decent condition. But there are special cases, coins that are rare due to their flawless condition or because they have unusual minting errors that make them stand out from the rest. First, let's talk about condition. Coins that have never been in circulation, known as mint state coins, are highly desirable. These coins have all their original luster, no scratches or wear, and sharp, clean edges. The highest grades, such as MS-67 or MS-68, are the kind of coins that serious collectors will compete for. Then there's the fascinating world of minting errors, the real wildcards in coin collecting. Minting errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process at the U.S. Mint. With the Hot Springs Quarter, error types that have been reported include doubled dies, where parts of the lettering or design appear doubled because the die struck the coin twice in slightly different positions, off-center strikes, where the design is shifted so far that part of it is missing, and die cracks, where raised lines or unusual shapes appear due to a damaged die point. One of the most dramatic errors a collector can find is a wrong planchet strike. This happens when a quarter's design is accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination, such as a nickel or a foreign coin. These pieces can look unusual in color, size, or thickness, and they're incredibly rare. Missing clad layer errors are another striking variety, exposing the copper core beneath and giving the coin a two-tone look. Why do these errors matter so much? It's simple: they're accidental, rare, and impossible to duplicate. Every error coin is unique, and the more visible and unusual the error, the higher the collector demand. Combine that rarity with perfect preservation, and you have a coin that can bring in jaw-dropping prices at auctions. The Hot Springs Quarter also has the advantage of being the very first coin in the America the Beautiful series, which adds to its collector appeal. First-issue coins in any series tend to be more sought after because they mark the beginning of something significant. For collectors who aim to complete the full set of America the Beautiful quarters, the Hot Springs piece is a must-have. Now, picture this. You're looking through your change, maybe sorting through a roll of quarters from the bank, and one catches your eye. You notice a strange doubling on the lettering, or the design looks shifted. Maybe the shine and sharpness of the details are so perfect that it's clear this coin has never been handled. You take a closer look, and your heart starts to race because you realize you found something special. That moment of discovery, when a simple coin turns into a rare treasure, is what makes the world of numismatics so exciting. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar for these rare finds, not just for their beauty or historical importance, but for the thrill of owning something truly unique. A Hot Springs quarter in mint state with a dramatic error is more than just currency, it's a piece of art, history, and chance all rolled into one. And that brings us to the part you've been waiting for, the value. In the most exceptional cases, when a Hot Springs National Park quarter from 2010 is found in flawless mint state with a rare and highly desirable minting error, it has been known to sell for as much as $77,000. So the next time you get a quarter in your change, take a moment to really look at it. You might just be holding a tiny piece of history worth far more than you ever imagined. And if you enjoy discovering the fascinating stories behind coins like this, make sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and join us again for more incredible coin tales. The next treasure could already be in your hands.